a contract, right? So this one sounds a little bit difficult to understand, but don't worry, we will analyze them later on more. Okay. So how can we say that in another words? It means that the party must agree on the terms of a contract, right? And manifest to each other their mutual assent to the same bargain, right? It's like meeting of the mind, okay? So you cannot, how can I say? Like when we say agreement, it means we have the same idea about something. Okay, for like if I say that, okay, I agree to sell this this mobile phone to you at a price at $30 at 30 million Vietnam dong, it means that when I say yes, I agree to buy it. It means that I agree to the terms, right? We both agree that the phone will be sold at the price of 30 million. Okay, so and usually the agreement is uh, evidenced by two events, right? An offer and acceptance, right? An offer is made by an offerer, and the acceptance is made by the offeree. And who and what do we mean by offerer and offeree? We already pointed out previously before the break. Next one, right? So first, let's look at the first element, which is an offer. Okay, so this on the slide is the definition of an offer according to the restatement second of contract. Right, please have a look a little bit. So, what is an offer? Right. So, different people are going to define it differently, but let's say it in the way that easy for us to understand. Right. So, an offer is a promise or like a commitment to do or not to do something, right? A specific action in the future, okay? And it's like not and like a contract, right? There are certain elements for the contract to be valid. There will be certain contracts for that. There are certain elements that need to be met for an offer to be valid as well. Okay, and what are they? The first one is that the offerer must objectively intend to be bound by the offer. Okay. Secondly, the terms of an offer must be defined and reasonably certain, and the offer must be communicated to the offeree. Okay, so let's look at the first element. Okay, so intention, right? So the first requirement of an effective offer is a serious intent on the part of the offerer, right? And that should not be determined by the offerer, him or herself. Okay, it should not be determined by the subjective intention or assumption of the offerer. Rather, right, it is determined by what a reasonable person in the offeree's position would conclude that the offerer's word and actions actually what it actually meant. And so there is a case, right? Facebook versus Winklevoss in 2011. If you have time, feel free to read that. And in the second bullet point, we can see that no valid contract result from preliminary negotiations, right, or statements that are made in just anger or undue excitement. Like those offer that made in anger, just undue excitement does not meet the serious and objective intent test, because a reasonable person would realize that a serious offer was not being made. Okay, so let's look at an example to clarify this point. Let's see. A is the CEO of um, Toyota Vietnam, TMV actually, right? And B is the CEO of Mercedes Benz Vietnam. Okay, so they are very close friends, and they usually have dinner with each other. And one day, right, I say to B that uh, we did not do very well because of COVID, and especially our SUV division, right? Especially our SUV division, they did very badly, and the leader is very stubborn, and the team is just not productive at all. Okay, so I'm just tired of them, and I'm willing to sell that division to any company who would like to buy it at the price of $1,000, right? The whole division, the whole SUV division, right? The team who in charge of making and preparing and taking care of the SUVs in Toyota Vietnam. Okay, and he is a CEO of Mercedes. He has a lot of money, right? So he is 1,000. He has 10 notes with me at that time, right? And he put all of those cash on the table and say, here you go. These are $1,000, and now your SUV division become my company's asset. Okay, and then tomorrow I will ask my legal officer to come over to Toyota Vietnam to do any paperwork that is needed, contract or anything else, right? Any document related to the transfer of the US of the M&A of the SUV division of Toyota Vietnam to the Mercedes-Benz Vietnam. Okay, so from your perspective, in does the how can I say, is there any contract, valid contract between a Toyota Vietnam and Mercedes-Benz, right? Both of them are CEOs, so of course they are competent. They have contractual capacity. Do you think that there is a valid contract between Toyota Vietnam and Mercedes-Benz Vietnam? Anybody? What do you guys think? Could you give us a hint? Mm, how can I give you a hint? No, this is very easy. If I give you a hint, I already answer that. So please have a think. This is very easy. This is exactly to illustrate the point that I have just discussed immediately before the example. think a little bit. Don't think too far. Think immediately what I have just said before the I give you as an example. This example to illustrate my point, not to ask you a question. So
Miss,
yep.
so I don't think this is a valid contract because it seems that the CEO of the Mercedes, right, the person who wants to sell the SUV division, he seems
Sorry. I heard the last thing that I heard is that you don't think this is a valid right agreement, right? And why? Can you please say that again? I didn't get that.
yes, sure. So I don't think it's a valid agreement because the person who said that he wants to sell the SUV division, he seems to uh, say out the things when he is angry, and according to the objective theory of contracts, there's no valid contracts result from statements that are made in anger.
Okay, all right, thank you. And yeah, right. Anyone else, please? Anyone else? What do you besides Nga? So Nga say no, right? Anyone else? What do you guys think? How about the others? Okay, so let's do the point. So the question is, right? You will receive a pool, right? So please choose yes or no. Okay, so we have 10 answers so far, 11. So far we have 9 say no and 2 say yes. Okay, let's wait a little bit more to see how about the others. All right, so we have 12 say no and only 2 say yes. All right, so for those who say yes, would you like to share why you think so? So we have 14. And answers in total, right? So those who say yes, it is a valid contract. Could you please share with the class why? And for the rest of you, 12 people who say no, do you have different ideas from Nghe, like different explanation? Maybe you think no, but your rationale is different from hers. Nope. Okay, so the theory of contract, right? It is determined not by the personal or subjective intent or belief of the party, right? But also by another person, a reasonable person. Okay. So, and it is judged by an outward objective facts, right? And for example, some objective facts may include what the party said, when it or appeared, because intent may manifested by conduct as well as by oral or written words, right? And the circumstances around the transaction. So in this case, right, as Nghe pointed out, the CEO of Toyota Vietnam A, right, actually was frustrated. He was very, very frustrated because of the productivity in the performance of the SUV division of TMV. Of course, a normal agreement was not seriously made, right? And because the offer was made in anger, right, as we can see on the slide, right? So the offer is not valid, right? Since there is no valid offer, right, and the offer is not effective. So even though there is an acceptance, there was an acceptance from B, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz, right? It does not create an agreement, right? Since we don't have an agreement, which is one of the four essential elements for a valid contract, there was no valid contract offer. There was no valid contract in the case of A and B. So this is one type of example that you can use when, I mean, the answer, right? You follow the structure, very brief, very straightforward. You answer, don't write too much, don't describe, don't explain something not related to your answer, right? So for example, if this is the final exam or the midterm exam, you choose to say, no, right? There is no contract, valid contract between A and B. Why? Right? Because in order for an offer to be valid, there are three necessary requirements, right? Elements, right? 1, 2, 3. So for the first one, right, which is a serious intent. As A made an offer when he was frustrated, right? That offer is not a valid offer. Since, right, the offer is not effective, the offer's acceptance does not create an agreement. An agreement is one of the essential elements for a contract to be valid. So there's no valid. There is no as there's no agreement, there's no valid contract. Right? So just very brief like that, and you will get 100% the point of that question. Okay, don't need to write so many things. Thanks, Nga. Good job. Right. So the next one, right, would be terms of offer must be clear and definite. Right? How do you understand this? That is simple. So that's why I ask you. If someone say that the terms of an offer must be clear and definite, what do they mean? What do we mean when we say the terms of an offer must be clear and definite? So if I say to no, so if yes, I say to Phụng that I would like to buy an apartment in Phú Mỹ Hưng, right? And it cost me 8 billion. And Phụng say, no worries, I'll lend you the money, right? And then I trusted her, and then I think, okay, she offered. I say, okay, sure, thank you very much, I accept that, right? And then later on, when I need to buy a house, right? And I come to her and I say, oh, you offer me to lend me some money, and I accept that. So now I need at least 1 million for the deposit. And then um, Phụng say, no, I don't think we have an agreement. So if you were a judge, right, what do you think? Do you think that there is a valid offer between from Phụng to me?
Um, I don't think that I have a valid offer for you.
Why not?
Because the offers Phụng said that I will give give you money, lend money, right? But I don't say when and how I give it to you, like, and the reason why, like that. Just say that I will give you lend my money.
I
That's
cannot. Okay, sorry, forgive me a second. I couldn't see. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat?
I mean, you ask Phụng for money, but Phụng said yes, I will give you money. I will give you lend my money, but Phụng didn't say when or where and like the specific reason why Phụng give you money. Like say it when she feel like I don't know, like Phụng feel comfortable, like let's say like maybe you two are in the middle of the meeting, like with your friend and with a lot of people like that. Phụng maybe think, how can I say deny to you? And that's just like a word. She said just like a deny or sort of like that can be considered as a valid offer for you. So for me, it's not valid.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Thanks, Phụng. How about others? What do you guys think? Do you think it's a valid contract, a valid offer? Okay, the answer is no, right? Because in the as the slide illustrated, right, the term of the offer must be definite and certain, right? We don't know anything about the offer term, how much Phụng is willing to lend me, and she's gonna pay me by cash or wire transfer. Is there any interest, and how long I have to pay her back, right? There's no specific terms at all, right, regarding in the offer, because without those definite terms, it is really hard for the court to determine if a breach has actually occurred and give an appropriate remedy, right? So in this case, there was no valid contract, right, from Phụng to me, right? So I cannot rely on that and go to Phụng and again later on to ask for the money to buy the apartment. All right. Okay, any questions so far for this one? And the last one. Okay, and the last one. Okay, question. I think they mean offer. Offer. Okay, when they mean terms or terms here, like so someone asked me, I think they mean the offer must have specific subject matter prices. Yes, all of those mean the terms of the offer, right? Like the identity of the party, identity of the object or subject matter of the contract, like quality, if appropriated, like the work to be performed, identification of the goods, right, the services and the land, consideration to be paid, time of payment, delivery, performance, all of these, okay? They call it the terms of an offer or the terms of the contract, okay? Thank you. And the next one, we can have express terms or implied terms, right? Express terms are those that expressly provided, whether in writing or verbally, and implied one are those that apply into the contract impliedly by the operation of the law, right? For example, in the contract under Vietnamese law, if they say that unless otherwise agreed that the delivery place will be this, or unless otherwise agreed by the parties, right? The amount, the certain things, right? The shipping will be due like this or like that. Okay, so those one you don't have to you don't have to have an agreement, like an express one. So those are called the implied one. Last one, example, right? So this one I say already. And the last element, which is the communication, right? An offer must be communicated to the offeree by an offerer or a representative or an agent of an offer. Okay? Because obviously someone cannot agree to an offer to the bargain without knowing that it actually exists. Okay, so for example, right, Nhi and Phụng, let Nhi and Khánh Linh, right, are very good partners, right? And then Nhi assistant went to Lin's office, right, to talk about the current payment of the current deal, right? And then the assistant actually saw on the table, Lin's a table, right? The assistant is Nhi assistant, right? Went to Khánh Linh, and then the assistant saw on Khánh Linh table an offer, right, to buy the factories of Nhi's company at the very, very good deal, right? And the assistant, Nhi's assistant, came back to the office and then told Nhi about that, like, you know, Khánh Linh company is offering us the very, very good price, like to buy our factory, right? And Nhi say, okay, sure, I would like to sell it to them, right? And then Nhi called Linh and say, Linh, thank you very much for the offer. I think that is such a good price, and we actually don't need the factory any longer, and I'm going to sell it to you at your suggested price. So in short, I agree. I accept your offer. Okay, so what do you think? Do you think that it is a valid offer and she had a valid acceptance?
Well, I think it is not a valid no, it is not a valid offer.
Offer? Okay. Why, Châu Long?
Yes, because the offer must be communicated to Nhi by Khánh Linh or Khánh Linh representative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in this case, neither Khánh Linh or her representative talk to Nhi, so there's no valid offer.
Okay, there was no. Okay, thanks, Châu Long. Any other people? What do you guys think? Okay, so the answer is no, right? Because as the slide pointed out, it must be communicated to the offeree by an offerer or a representative or an agent of an offerer. This one, right? Nyi's assistant actually saw that and mentioned that to Nhi without any authorization from Lin. Okay, so this is not considered as a valid offer because it does not meet the third requirement for an effective offer is the communication. Okay. All right. Thanks, guide. I think that this is. I think let's stop here for now, and then we will look at. Right. Let's look at an exercise. Okay. Let's look at an exercise together. Okay. So, hold on, give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna share with you. Okay, right here. So, B, right? We have two people, right? A and B are neighbors, okay? And A really like let's see, now this is harder. Okay, let me see another word. So it's okay. L, okay, and Z. This is easier. A and B, too many. A and Z are neighbors, and they have known each other for like 25 years or more, right? But however, recently, in the last like 10 years, right, L really like a Z's garden. Okay, really like the garden and the farm together. So there's the farm that L really like. Okay, and would like to buy it. Okay, one night, right, L actually visited Z. Okay, and they after they talked and then had dinner with each other. And L tried to buy the farm one more time. He tried many times, but it doesn't work. But this time he tried a new way, right? So L said to Z that I bet that you wouldn't take 50. I bet that, okay, you wouldn't take, let me say, 5 billion Việt Nam đồng for that farm, okay? Z actually say, I do, but I bet that you wouldn't give 5 billion. Okay, I don't think you will give it. I will accept 5, but I don't think you will give it, right? And throughout the night, right, the conversation returned to the sale of the farm for 5 billion. Okay, and they continue to drink and engage in, conversation. And eventually, L actually and Z actually end up writing an agreement that, so at the end, later on, right, they have an agreement saying that, right, Z could sell the farm to L at 5 billion Việt Nam đồng. Okay, complete. That's it, right? And later, right, Z, the next day, Z was, before Z got a little bit drunk, and the next day, he's not drunk, but they drank, right? And later on, L actually sued Z to go through with the sale, right? Because he did not do that voluntarily. And Z actually say that he had been drunk. He said he had been drunk, and the offer had been made in jest, right? Therefore, it is unenforceable. Right? Therefore, it is unenforceable. Okay, and the trial court, we have different level, right? So the first court, the trial court, agree with Zemmer, right? So, sorry, L, right? So Lucy and L actually appeal. Okay, so if you were a judge to this case, how would you decide? Okay, so that they went to the trial, and then the judge asked both parties what happened, and they can clearly remember. They say that, Z say that, actually I was very drunk, and things like that, right? But then the court in the trial court, right, agree with Z. However, L did not agree and appealed. So if you were a judge, how do you decide this court? Z remember every single thing in that night. Whatever the court asked, Z remember and answer very clearly in the very great detail, like what was said and what was done and things like that. But he denied the sale of the farm because he said that he was very drunk. Is it clear, everyone? Do you have any questions for the case? Do you need any more clarification for the case? Oh yes, Nghe, please. Nghe, go ahead, Nghe. Oh, because so they have an agreement saying that Z will sell the farm to L at the price of 5 million. However, later on, right? This is, for example, February 23rd, right? 2022. And however, on November 24th, 2022, Z say, no, I actually did not have any agreement with you and I don't agree that I'm going to sell you the farm. Okay, so that's why X to Z regarding the sale of the farm, according to this agreement. Right, they have this agreement already, but then Z say that on 23rd they signed, right? But 24th, the next day Z say no, the agreement was not valid, right? But then L thinks that the agreement was valid, so that's why L sues Z in order to going through with the sale of the farm. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, so how about let's be in group again. Let's have 20 minutes to work on this. I will put you in 6 groups and then you can choose it, choose the people you work with, okay? And let's just pretend that this is the midterm, right? How would you do this? This is the format, is very similar, but I will put it in writing instead of speaking like this, okay? So we're gonna have 20 minutes, okay? Maybe 18 minutes, and then open on room, okay? Again, I'm here, so if you have any question, let me know.